Hello, my name is SB and I teach people how to get into VGC. Kinda. If you are a returning viewer, then you're going to realize pretty quickly that this video is a slightly different style than my usual style where I make jokes and it's a bit more edited and I like to put myself into funny situations. Isn't that right, Dewey? This video is going to be a little bit different because it's going to be a vlog style video of my time at the Louisville Regional Championships. The point of this video is to teach people what a regional is like, to answer the questions that you might have, and to give you tips for your time there to calm your anxieties. If you are someone who is watching my channel for the first time with this video, welcome. I still think this will be a fun video, but I highly recommend going and watching my other videos after this. I think they're very good if you are trying to get into VGC, but for this video, a vlog style felt more appropriate to kind of catch things, tips and tricks and explanations live as they happened, and to kind of let you live the experience with me. So it's going to be a slightly different style. Let's get into it. Pause. This is Editor SB. I spent 2 or 3 hours trying to make the audio and the little microphone that you're going to see in the rest of this video sound as good as this microphone. It's a pipe dream. It's not possible. Here I'm in a treated studio and I'm doing a lot of things to make my voice sound really good in the studio. I can't do that with a tiny microphone when I'm outside or on a busy street in Louisville with cars, or when I'm in the convention center with 1,000 people talking over me, or commercial AC, or whatever else is happening. So just show me some grace with that. I tried really hard to make it work. It's still listenable. It just bugs me that it's not as good as this microphone, but it's a great video. Please watch. It means a lot. Love you.
Good morning, guys. Good morning for me. It is 10 a.m. on Friday before the Louisville Regional, and I am headed that way now. It'll be about a 6.5-hour drive. I'm very excited to go there. I was going to do this vlog whether we ended up getting the 200 likes or not, because I think it's good educational content that you guys need to know about if you're planning on going to a regional. This vlog is intentionally just going to be educational for what the experience is like at a regional. It is not to see how well my record is, because spoiler alert, it's not going to be that great because I'm a beginner. That's the whole point of this channel, is that I am a beginner that can give advice to other beginners because I know the content that you need. So I'm trying to create the content that you need to become better at VGC faster and fill the content that I think is kind of lacking on YouTube at the moment. I am still excited to go to Louisville Regional, despite thinking that I might not do well. One thing that I do want to talk about, since we're talking about educational parts of the regional, is you need to make sure that you are saving time to lock in your team. You have to lock it in Saturday morning, I think, by an hour before the event starts. It might be 2 hours before the event starts. I can't look at it right now. But you need to make sure that you are saving time to do that. It takes a lot of time, even with the help of my friend Realistic VGC, who usually comments down in below on these videos. Even with his help, it still took like an hour to get it done, because you have to load in every stat and ability and item and move choice, and it takes a long time. There is an extension that I'll be talking about here in a video coming up that is extreme speed, that actually takes all the data from a PokePaste and uploads it into the RK9 website, which is the website where you register for events and tracks the events and make sure that your team sheet is legal. So we will kind of go over that in a future video, but make sure that you are saving time to register your team, because it does take a lot of time and you have to get it right. If they come by and check and it's wrong, you could lose a move, you could lose a Pokemon, you could just get disqualified. There's a lot to keep track of there. So I would definitely suggest saving time for that to make sure that you are prepared for your event. But we are going to go ahead and start driving and head our way to the Louisville Regional Championship. Let's hope for a 2-6 record. I actually wanted to add one quick thing before I actually got into my car. Do you guys think that people get offended if I say Louisville, or do you think they get offended if I say Louisville? So I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with, maybe 50-50 and just switch it up every time that I say it. So we'll see in this video which one that I stuck with, but I'm not sure which one is the preferred pronunciation, but we're going to figure it out. All right, let's drive. Never mind, I got into my car to start driving to Louisville, and actually Confessions Part 2 by Usher is planned, so kind of think that I might be going like 6-2 now. So you never know, man. This song got me hyped. Alrighty, guys, first stop of the trip, and every time that I stop, I think I'm going to try and give some like tips that I've kind of learned while registering for the regional and attending and going there now. So the first piece of advice that I'd love to give is when you are registering your team in RK9, at the very top when you're done, it's going to have a little warning and say, hey, make sure your name on RK9 matches your in-game name, because it needs to be identical. Because some people didn't do that. And so luckily I was sharing my screen with Realistic yesterday, and he said, hey, what's that top say? And then it said that my name was Primordial SB in my Pokemon Scarlet game, which it is not. So it's actually very good that he caught that. He was like, oh, hey, does that actually match? And I was like, it doesn't. So we had to go in and edit my RK9 page to say that it's SB, which is my in-game name on Pokemon Scarlet, or else we would have had a big issue when I got to Louisville and the names didn't match. So I'm glad that he caught that. Thank you to him. But make sure your name matches. Again, there will be a warning at the top of the screen telling you to check for that. So make sure that you are checking. Also, while we are stopped here, I should have done this at the beginning of the video. I want to give a big thank you to everyone who helped me kind of prep for the Louisville Regional. Thank you to Scooteezy, who gave me my original team and helped me build it and helped me actually EV it and get everything kind of prepared for it. Thank you to Nezzy and Zach and Realistic for working lines with me. So we did battles against each other to make sure that I knew what kind of Pokemon to lead with against certain teams, running my lines. So that was super helpful. Thank you to them as well for giving me some adjustments to my team, saying, hey, this doesn't really work. Let's try and adjust it and go for this, because that's kind of what the meta is changing to. Thank you also to Realistic for helping me put my team on RK9. Thank you to my friend Neek for helping me EV 2 of my Pokemon. Thank you to Becca Baddist for also running some sets with me and for just giving me general advice. And thank you to everyone watching these videos. I wouldn't be making these without you guys watching them. So just, general shouts out. Shout out to the entire flock. You guys know who you are. Shout out to Scooteezy. Shout out to Becca Baddist. Lots of great people that helped me prepare for this. So they, they're in my corner. It's nice. They are ready for me to go 2-6. Alrighty. We are over halfway there. I am a small town person. I'm not used to 6 million hours of construction. So I'm very tired from that. So it's going to be a very long last half of the trip, but it'll be worth it when we get there. So hopefully we can make it there at a decent time. There's also a time change, a jump forward that we'll have to go through, but it'll buff. The tip that I want to give you for this stop is that if you're someone like me who likes to play with a wireless controller, I like to play with a wireless GameCube controller whenever I play on my Switch. You can't use that at official competitions because you can't use wireless controllers. It has to either be a wired controller or Joy-Cons. If you use Joy-Cons, the unfortunate part about that is that it actually has to stay connected to the Switch. You can't take them off because there's no Bluetooth functionality when you're doing these competitions. So that's something to consider, that you're going to have to lean forward and hold on to the Switch and the Joy-Cons while you're playing. So if you can't, or you don't feel comfortable, or you're not able to do that, definitely something to consider is to bring a wired controller, because again, wireless, not going to do it. So let's maybe finish out the rest of this drive. There might be one more stop. We'll find out. See you guys soon. Alrighty, guys, we made it to Louisville. Again, a lot of traffic, barely made it. We were the last person to make it into the convention center, so I was not able to take any footage in there. I literally got there minutes to spare. Literally the last person to get the pass. Literally, they closed they closed off the gate behind me. They were like, "Nice job, barely made it." And then I got in, registered, and it was closed. And so we barely made it, but we made it. That's what matters. So hopefully, some shots of the venue tomorrow. I did find out that I would be super nervous to talk like this tomorrow in front of everyone, because I already was scared to pull up my phone and microphone and do it already. And we're all doing the same thing. But either way, we made it. We'll talk a little bit more when I get to my hotel room about some things that we're going to cover. But my tip for right now would be to get here on time the day before. You can get it Friday morning. I think you would have to get there like 7 or 7:30 though, like an hour before it starts. So that way you had enough time to get your pass and get through the line. But you can also come anytime on Friday before like 7, which, I was trying to do, barely made it. Again, can't stress that enough, but we got it. So I don't have to show up at 7 a.m. tomorrow. I'll probably show up a little bit early to film some stuff, but oh man, we made it. That's what matters. We made it to the world's most echoey hotel room. So hopefully I can fix that part in post if it is picking up any reverb. But we made it. It's finally time to relax a little bit. Gonna have to chill. Gonna play some more sets with my team so I can get really familiar with my team. But it's gonna be nice to relax. Got a big day tomorrow of stressing and being nervous because there's a lot to be nervous about. So one of my big nerves was actually driving in a city as big as Louisville because I am, again, not from a large city, so driving in them stresses me out. And I hate to sound like, oh, that's big city living over there, but like I just don't I don't know how to do that because if I am at my house and I drive to downtown in my town, which is about the farthest points you can drive to, if I see like 10 cars, I'm like, there's something going on in town tonight. You see how many people are out? This is a hustle bustle. So seeing all these cars in Louisville is definitely different for me. But I am still nervous because tomorrow I have to, one, do this. And that's very nerve-wracking for me because, I have to talk in front of people and have a group of people standing around me while I'm like, hey guys, and that stresses me out. But I'm going to do it for you because it's supposed to be educational. So going to try and teach you guys what a regional is like, things you need to know, tips that I learned, I'll be sharing with you, things that I come across. They're like, hey, you don't know about this until you're here. So I'm trying to give that to you. I'm also just nervous to play against a bunch of really, really good players. Again, I'm not hoping for an amazing record. I know I'm not going to do crazy well, but I'd like to perform decently well and kind of get some good sets in. So, but as we've said, this is educational, not trying to be like, what's my record? Because I'm really good at this. I'm still a beginner, just trying to help other beginners. So that is, the main goal. One more tip, I think, before I am done tonight, this will be my last vlog recording, is to, make sure you relax the night before, get some good rest because you have to get up early to get to the venue, and you have a lot of sets to play. Again, I've never experienced it because this is my first regional as well, but I've heard a lot of people talk about the mental fatigue that you go through with these, like when you're, beginning of the day, you feel good, but when you get to that round 6, round 7 of best of 3, you kind of get a little tired. You're playing against great players, so I'm sure by the end of the day tomorrow, when we catch up, it'll be a lot of like, yep, I'm gonna go to bed. But so it's good though. So I'm gonna rest up, gonna play some sets. Excited to see everyone tomorrow, and I'll probably do a little video before we head on out to the venue. But yeah, so we're here. We made it. Time to practice a little more and relax and get ready for tomorrow morning, the big day. Exciting. Alrighty, good morning, guys. It is the day. It is the Louisville Regional Championships. We've been prepping for this. We ran some more lines yesterday, last night. We've studied the team. We feel as good as we can for right now. Obviously, still a beginner, so skill level might not be to that of other players, but I'm excited to do it. This is actually the team that we will be rocking while we are at Louisville. I really like this team. It's went through a couple different iterations. We've had the first one had Rotom Wash on the squad, which was a lot of fun, but Hydro Pump misses made me get rid of him, even though him and Garchomp worked super well together. Then it had Kilowattrel and Incineroar, and then those ended up changing into Talonflame and Arcaludon because that's just the way that it works. Because you have to have as many of the big 3 steals as you can. So we actually are prepped to go now. Let me see if we can show what we are working with for devices that we're taking with us. So as you guys can kind of see, we are locked and loaded on the devices. We obviously have a Switch, the Switch charger. Like I said yesterday, or 5 minutes ago for you guys, we have a wired controller because, again, you have to use your Joy-Cons connected to it. So you have to lean forward and touch them, or you have to use a wired controller. So we're opting for a wired controller route. Backup microphone because we got to talk this way. This is an external battery pack actually, which is not required to bring. It's just something that I think you should bring just to be safe. They do charge your Switch as you're playing, I've been told, but just to make sure that you have the charge, and the registration email says to make sure you have your own charger. So we have the charger, we have the external battery pack to charge it some more. I'm going to be obviously using my phone to record and vlogs, so we definitely need to make sure we have chargers there for the phone. So if anyone needs technology, come find me. So we are locked and loaded in that regard. I finally found the clip for these microphones, my bad. But they have clips, so I can just clip them to my hoodie and talk and have a free hand, which would be good for sheets and other things that we get at registration. So we are going to we are going to head to the event venue and register for the Louisville Regional Championships to get our team sheets, kind of get comfortable. We're getting there a little early. We're getting there like an hour early, but that's just to get some B-roll footage and to relax a little bit. So we'll see if I suggest getting there an hour early or not for your first regional championship after we get there. All right, guys, there is so many people here, as you can tell. It is like packed. There's like 950 players here, which is awesome. But we are going to go set down round one. You don't have to pick up your team sheet, actually. They give you that whenever you set at your table. So they give you the match slip and the team sheet there. So you just got to set down a few minutes early, get a little comfortable. So there was no real registration, so I spent my time talking to people, which is great. So get here an hour early if you want to conversate. So I'm going to head to my table and focus up. See you. Round one in the books. It was a loss, but I don't feel super bad about it. It was super close. It went to game three. I had one Pokemon left, he had two left, but I went to game three. His name is Boston Elliott. He has been playing in regionals for 9 years, he said, so I don't feel so bad about that loss. I'm not going to be updating on my record through all of this because I just don't think that that's super necessary. Because again, it's not about my record. I'll update here and there, but it's not about my record. It's about teaching you things. So one thing that I do want you to know, so again, you don't get your team sheet when you get there. They give it to you at your table. So when I got to my table, they handed me my team sheet. They said, hey, double check. I did. It all matched. Then they came around, they gave us these match slips, which I think is important to know. So they give you your team sheet and match slips. Match slips, you have to sign who wins and loses each match at the end of the set. So another thing to note, though, you need to be connected to the internet. You need to be in airplane mode. And then whenever you go to battle, someone will go into the union circle and they will start a group. And then you just join the group. So if you start it, they'll join yours. If they start it, you'll join theirs. And then they'll conduct a battle. And then when you start a battle, then whoever started the group can set the rules, and you go from there. So that is important things for round one. Just make sure you get your competitor pass. I got mine yesterday. You can get it before. Don't wait till the last second to get that, though. Like I almost ran out of time. But then you get to go to your table. The pairings would put up like 15, 20 minutes before your actual set starts. So my pairing's gonna put on RK9, again, important website. That's how you register. That's how they keep track. That's how they pair you up. RK9, really important. Make sure to check out that website. But either way, when you get to your table, you set down. I recommend setting down 10, 15 minutes early to look through your team, check your team sheet, get to know the person you're setting across, because you should be talking to them. They're cool. Boston was really cool to talk to. He was very kind. He gave me, he told me it was a good set. It was very cool to talk to him. He had funny nicknames like Stabby McGee on his on his King Gambit, but it was really fun. It was really good. But yeah, make sure that you get your team sheet, check that one to make sure it's right. They will hand you the team sheet and the match slip when you set down. Afterwards, make sure that you initial on your end, and then you check mark who won each game, and then you circle who the winner is, and then they're going to hand that in, and that is how you know who won. So that's important stuff around one. Again, a loss for me, but hey, first regional against someone who's been playing it for 9 years. No hate there. Great game. I can't believe I won a game against him, so super excited about that. But that is important round one information. I'll be back soon. Alrighty, guys, and if you are not coming with anybody, you are able to set in a spectator area. I'm going to show some footage of what that spectator area likes. So when you're done with your match, or if you're just coming as a spectator instead of someone who's playing, you can sit here and watch all the games and check and see how they're going, watch the stream that everyone else will be watching online. So it's a very fun time. Make sure to check out this area. And it just looks cool. You get to see the game live. So make sure to check that out, and here's some footage of that.
All right, I promise I won't be updating after everyone, but round 2 is over and we won, which is very cool, but that's not the point of why I'm trying to say this. Story time. I parked in a parking garage a couple blocks away, and someone parked next to me, and we walked out together, and he was like, oh, I'm trying to get to my venue for Pokemon. I was like, oh, me too, actually, let's walk together. We were talking, and turns out he was mentioned on the last episode of the Oko podcast, and I told him that I was in that Discord, I listened to that podcast, I'm a big fan, and he was like, oh, I'm the coaster guy from the episode. And if you listen to the Oko podcast, there's a guy who was making coasters for Joe Brown Sierra to give to them here at this regional. And he actually ended up walking with me. We talked about our teams. He ended up giving me one of the Oko coasters, so I have that. That's one of the few special ones. And then when round 2 came, we got paired together. So we were able to set with each other. Split second was super cool. But what a way that it kind of came together. It was really surprising that it happened that way. But I just wanted to share that with you. The connections you make could end up being your opponents. So that's what happened here. So super exciting. But we're going into round 3, 1-1. Super excited. Already 1 win down. So let's see if we can get another. Great news. We are done with round 4 and we've hit our goal. We are 2-2, so we are even across the board, but that's our goal. I can lose the rest of the matches and not care. So that's like a big weight off my shoulders. We hit the goal of winning 2 matches, so that's huge. We've got to see some cool people. We've seen Wolf running around. We talked to James Beck, talked to Joe Brown, the Joe Brown from the Oko podcast, which is coming up a lot today. I have not seen a Sneasler yet in 4 rounds, so I'm sure that'll be the rest of the tournament is all Sneaslers, but I'm very excited about it, and it's going awesome so far. Pro tip for this time, don't forget to turn in your match slip, because at the end of my last match, got all the way to a table I was sitting at and sat down and was holding it, and I was like, what's in my hand? And I was like, oh yeah, the match slip that said that I won. So make sure to go back to the front of the venue and turn that in with a representative, because once you win, again, you initial, you circle who won, both players have to initial, you check which games you won, and then you take it up to the front, and someone, an official, takes it and they put it in to the system to show that you won, to keep your records up to date. So please don't forget to do that. Make sure you turn your match slips. Don't be like SB. Alrighty guys, another important thing to note is that it depends whether you get a lunch break depending on what regional you're at. So be prepared to not eat or have to stay in long concession lines. I waited until after round 5 to run and to go to the pizza stand to get some food. So just remember, you might not get a lunch break at these regionals. This one does not have a lunch break. They announce that pretty regularly, but come prepared, maybe have some snacks, because you will get hungry and exhausted and grouchy at about the 5th round. So just keep that in mind for sure.
As you can see, some idiot forgot to turn on his microphone for this segment, but what he is trying to say is that there are vendors at these events that are buying and selling Pokemon cards, selling Pokemon plushies, and selling Pokemon merchandise in general. It's very cool that they have those there, so make sure that you check those out. He's also saying that he's going to be buying a plush from here on out at every regional he attends, so he can remember the experiences that he have and cherish the memories and cherish the people that he meets for a little bit longer after this is over. Let's see which plush he picks out.
Alrighty guys, it is the end of the road. We had a goal going into this of getting 2-6, which was fine because we got 3-5, so we did one better. I think 3 of the losses came down to game 3 right at the end though, so no, I'm not upset about that. We had super close games, a lot of games ending in game 3, super close. So you just the cards fall as they will. Sometimes RNG takes effect. Sometimes you just don't have the turns. That's Pokemon though. So I meant to also say Vivian. So I got a Vivian plush to match the team that I got because it's it's the only regulation on where I'll be able to actually use a Vivian and be taken seriously. So I enjoyed using Vivian, loved using Garchomp. Our Chowdon came in clutch several times with the sturdy ability. It was super fun, but I am exhausted. I am so tired right now. It is so mentally taxing. When you got, I went 2-2, and then I was like, man, okay, it's starting to set in. And then you go 3-4, and you're like, man, it is really, really starting to set in. And then 3-5, we got to the very end of game 3, but it was close, but ended up losing it. But either way, some things that I would suggest bringing in: wired controller, even though mine didn't want to work for some reason, but that's not important. Also, bring headphones for your games, so make sure to plug those in, because people are going to be talking next to you, and there's going to be issues, and it's very distracting if you don't have headphones, because I didn't. But that, and then bring a notebook. It's so good to take notes and to keep track of what they're leading, who they're tearing. Super good. Take notes. I have mine with me. I'm not going to pull it out right now.
But this is the end of the session here. So we take 3-5. We're totally fine with that. And we will, go from here. I'll probably be back day 2 tomorrow, but this is going to be the last recording from this venue today. So thank you guys for following along. Hopefully you got lots of helpful tips on, match slips and how to prep and how to register your team and what to bring and, how you should connect, by going into airplane mode, being online, going to the Union Circle, starting a battle. There's so much good stuff here. So hopefully we covered a lot of it. Thank you guys so much for watching so far. And I think I'll have a little segment at the end, but thank you guys again. 3-5.
Oh, so that's how you say it. It's all of them. Alrighty, guys. It is 10:30 right now at night. After we got done at the venue, we ended up going to get some pizza with some friends, and then we ended up going back to their hotel room to play the new Dragon Ball game. But it has been a very, very long day, a very good day, but a very long day. I'm very tired, very wore out. The mental fatigue that they talk about at these events is so real. But it was a blast. Honestly, we did better than we wanted. We wanted 2 and 6. We did 3 and 5. We probably could have had 4 and 4, but the mental fatigue was getting to me. So I'll need to, prepare for that more next time. Like I said, we had a lot of close game 3s, but we couldn't pull them through. So something to learn for next time. We had a super fun team. We got a plush. Hopefully we covered a lot for you guys on what you can learn from and tips. When you get to regionals, get to know people, hang out. Thank you to everyone that came and said hey to me. Thank you to everyone for that hung out with me today. You guys know who you are, Neek and Bruno and Tay and Ryan, BK, Rowan, Nufo. You guys know, we hung out all day. So got to talk to a lot of cool people, got to see a lot of cool teams. It's just so cool to hang around other Pokemon fans and do this stuff. So super excited to make this vlog for you. Hopefully it is filled with lots of good tips on match slips and team sheets and registering your team and prepping and kind of getting with people, getting to Discords, run lines with people, ask people to run against your team. Hey, can you use the Sneasler Dragapult team against my team and see how I do, so you can figure out your lines. Ask people to help build with you. Definitely get involved in the community. I will be not participating in day 2, even though 2 friends of ours, Zero Blaze and Zach Minnick, are actually going to be in day 2, which is crazy. Hopefully they pull out the win. But we'll be there supporting them, hanging out, playing in maybe the side events, probably not the cup, which is essentially like another several rounds of matches that you can play early in the morning. And honestly, I'm so mentally drained. I don't think I would perform well at all. So I'm not going to do that. But if you go to a regional and you don't make it to day 2, you can still go to an event at day 2 and play in like a smaller cup or an MSS, and you register the morning of for those to go there and compete more. And you can still get points for getting those. So, you register the morning of, you can do well, you can get points. So that's pretty awesome if you're feeling energetic enough to do that. I was not, but that's another option. So I will see you guys at day 2. I am going to pass out.
Hey guys, I am here with Chris, who I just met day 2 at Louisville Regionals. He watches the channel, which is awesome. But he's a much better player than I am, because 3-5 me, 4-4 on my guy over here. How'd that run feel?
4-4 was awesome. It's my first time out. He actually inspired me to come out here, so I'm really, really excited. I couldn't believe that I won as many matches as I did. I was expecting only 2, so doubling that is fantastic. I'm with it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. What was the weirdest Pokemon that you saw?
It was Terrasteel Dash Bun, and it was body pressing all over the field. I Dragon Darts into it twice, and it still didn't KO it. It was down to like 14 HP. It was insane, dude.
That's awesome. The 4-4 is huge. This is your first regional, right? You said competing?
Yeah, first time competing, period.
That's awesome. That is awesome. 4-4 is crazy. We got one more question for you. What's your favorite Pokemon?
Sylveon. Sylveon is the GOAT of my team.
That's right. That's right. Sylveon. And did you run Sylveon here at Louisville?
Oh, of course.
That's right. Maybe that's what we like to hear. Chris, thanks for hanging out. I just wanted to make sure to catch this, and you'll be on the video here in a couple days. Thanks. I appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely. See you, man.
Chris, I am so sorry that your microphone cut out there. It feels like it didn't really do it anywhere else for the weekend. I'm not sure why it chose to do it specifically with you. But I had a great time talking to you, and I'm going to go into a little story time about me and Chris meeting here. So we actually parked at the same parking garage, like 10-minute walk away from the convention center. We were kind of walking at a distance away from each other, but then I looked back and saw, Jigglypuff hat. He had the competitor bracelet on. So I was like, this dude is going to the same place. So I stood back for a little bit, waited for him to kind of get to the corner. And then I said, hey, are you heading to the convention center? And he said, yeah, I am. Did you compete? And I said, yeah, I competed. Not well. I let him know that it was not a great performance, but that I competed. And I said, this is my first regional actually. And then that actually kind of tipped him off that since I said first regional and I, kind of look like me right now on this channel, he was like, hey, I think I know your videos. And, he had said that he had watched the channel and that, he was excited to be at a regional and that I, excited because we've been kind of talking about it on the channel. It was super awesome to get to talk to Chris. We kind of talked the rest of the way there. And then when we got in, we kept talking about our matches and experiences on day 2. And it was just super cool to get to talk to Chris. Thank you so much for being willing to talk to me on the way there and for sharing your experiences and for being interviewed for this video. So super glad that I was able to get you into this video. I am sorry that we didn't run into each other again on day 2. I thought, surely we would, but we didn't. But it was super cool. Chris, if you are watching this, I would love to know which, viewer you are. So if you want to comment down below and say, hey, this is Chris, I'll pin your comment or something because it's just super awesome that we were able to run into each other and you actually knew what the channel was. So don't comment and say that you're Chris, okay? Because it'll confuse me if everyone's like, hey, it's me, Chris, and I have 7,000 Chris's in the comments. So a way that we're going to prove that is if you are the real Chris, say what regional you first spectated at because it was not Louisville, and what profession you are, if you don't mind saying that, because you did tell me that, and I'm going to find the right one. I don't care if there's 6,000 of them. Chris, make sure you comment. Thanks for talking to me. You are that guy.
Talking to Chris was awesome. I can't believe there's been a couple people actually that have recognized me, which is really cool. And I love talking to people. So if you ever see me at an event or anything like that, please feel free to say, hey, talk to me. In this case, this weekend, you might end up on the video. Chris was awesome. Hopefully we run into him again. We are at day 2. We are not competing, but there are things that you can do. Like I mentioned yesterday, you can do the cup if you want. You could be doing like an MSS. It used to be called, now cup, I think. But it's like a best of 1, I believe, sets. And you just play through some rounds. You get points if you get high enough in it. So, even if you miss out on the points from the international, you can still get points. It's fun. You get to keep playing against each other. I have a couple of friends that are doing it. So go Tay and Nufo that are competing in it. And if you are just wanting to hang out, they have a bunch of old video game systems you can play. So you can play like Coliseum. You can play Shadows of Darkness. You can play like all the old console version games, and those are set up on stations. Or you can just spectate. There's a lot of fun matches. James Beck is playing behind me right now. Here's a view of that. So you can watch that. You can watch the TCG. You can watch Go. You can just hang out, get to talk to people. There's no stress of having to play well unless you're doing the cup, but even that ends pretty early. So you just get to hang out. You get to talk to people. It's a fun time. We'll get some footage of that here in a moment. Alrighty, hey guys, we are here with Zach Minnick. He not only day 2'd, he is not only super good at Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero, he not only top cut, he got top 16, an extremely experienced player. He helped me run lines before Louisville, actually, so I got to practice with him a little bit. Obviously, that mostly went him beating me up a bunch, but hey, it was still fun, good practice. So, Zach, what was your team today for the Louisville Regional?
Right. So I ran the team that was used at the Lima Special event by Sebastian Rodriguez. He ended up winning that event, and I thought the team was really interesting. So I talked with him about it, asked if I could use it. It is a Free Giraffe Blood Moon team that uses Goldengo as like a side piece and Flamigo as a side piece to operate outside of Trick Room if it needs it. And then Clefable is there to kind of help deal with opposing Amoonguss, which can be tough for Trick Room teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there was, I know you've tweeted this to kind of people sleeping on Blood Moon, and so there was a lot of people sleeping on. So it's good for you to get the Blood Moon representation in. Yeah. So how does it feel to play against people that are at the top 16 level? Because obviously, there's some of the best that we have at the tournament, and usually pretty frequent players that you see again and again here, like Zach Minnick, that make it to that level. So how does it feel to play someone at that level?
I really enjoy it. I enjoy the opportunity to play other high-level players, other good players. Like, you're always going to have a good match. People are going to play smart, find resourceful lines, be creative. I enjoy the opportunity to play them. I try not to be intimidated by anything. Like, I'm not going to approach my game plans too differently, or maybe not differently at all, just because of who the name is. But I just think of it more, it's like, it's a reward. It's like, hey, you've been playing this well. You get to play other people who are playing really well. And that's like what we're all here for, is like play the game well, like good people.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it can be hard to, I would say, pull out the win against someone else that also has the same like knowledge of board states and what will happen on the next turns and what their win conditions are. Do you have any advice that you would give for someone that ends up in the top 32 or top 16 position, and how to, actually turn those board states to your favor, how to kind of pull those games out?
Yeah, I would say a big part of it is understanding like the matchup and how it operates and what the important pieces are for both sides, and understanding the long-term game plans of not only what you are trying to do, but what your opponent's trying to do. And then in addition to that, you know that you're playing someone else who's really good. So you have to be willing to take risks or deviate or create like murky situations or more read situations to maybe be able to edge out against them. Now, if you have a particular matchup that's not necessarily true, you can just play your matchup. But I do think you should be playing in general to like long-term game plans. But when you're playing at that high level, you know that they know what you know. And there's a whole mind game aspect that's going on to that. But I don't think you can opt out of it in most matchups. Like, you need to opt into it, but understand from like the long term why you're making decisions that you're making. Like, for example, if I'm choosing to protect a Pokemon and like only do one protect and attack with the other, I'm doing that because I'm understanding that my opponent is looking at my board state and saying, hey, I want to try and remove a particular piece. Or it's like, if I can get his Flamigo off the field, my King Gambit's going to be safe in the back for this endgame. So then I understand, hey, he's going to try and remove Flamigo with the pieces he has on the board right now. So then I might try and make an aggressive play into that to give myself an edge against the opposing player, because I know that they're really good and it's not going to come from me just making a safe play every turn.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That is super good advice. I think we should probably make a video on that on the channel. What do you think?
That would be nice. I mean, I'm done for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. New video coming soon featuring Zach Minnick, top 16 at Louisville Regional Championships. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah. See you guys. That is going to be it for me here in Louisville. It was fun. Hopefully you got good tips. I got to see a lot of cool people, hang out with a lot of cool people, meet people who watch the channel. So shout out to, unfortunately, the guy whose name I didn't get in between round 5 and 6. Shout out to Chris, who stopped me. That was super cool. We got to meet Scraw VGC. We got to see Woofy. We got to meet Joe Brown, the caster. I mean, there was a lot of fun stuff that we got to do here. It was a really good time, but unfortunately we have a 7-hour drive ahead of us. So we are going to head out, and I'll do a little post-vlog video ending when we get back to my studio.
In the spirit of a live recording like a vlog, I'm just going to kind of go as much off the cuff as I can for this ending part, which is usually not the case. If you guys aren't aware, the videos are semi-scripted. I have bullet points that I go through and kind of follow, and I do in this case kind of a little bit too. I don't want to mess up the focus, but I will be reading off something right now, but it's going to be live. It'll be a little bit different than usual. I'm just going to run down again the tips that I think are super, super important for you to remember, so that way you have that knowledge when you go into your first regional experience. They're so much fun. I had an absolute blast at the Louisville Regional. Several people told me that it's an addicting thing. I can absolutely see that. I had so much fun, but I was so mentally tired at the end of it. When we finished up round 8, our last round, and then we all decided, me and some of my friends that were there, we decided to get pizza back at the hotel. We went back to the hotel lobby, and I kid you not, there were the people that were experienced and used to it were playing pool, and I was laying there like this. I was just sitting in a chair staring upward for like 30 minutes drinking water because I needed to catch a breath. I needed to rehydrate, get my mental state back up before I could even engage with them, because I was cooked. It was tough stuff, but it's so much fun. You got to go if you've never been. Highly recommend. But here's some tips that I think you need to know if you plan on attending a regional. A lot of them covered in the video already, but this is going to be like a good list, like writing down in chronological order of things you need to know. So the first thing is make sure, which I talked about this in the very first video I ever made on this channel, you need to be following RK9 Labs on Twitter, because this is where you register for the events. They tweet out when the registration is open, and it's the website that you use to register. That's how they track you. So you need to make sure you have an account, and it's how you see your pairings throughout the event. So we'll talk more about that here in a second, but as you go through the day, you'll see you and the people you know, their pairings and who's in what round and who's still in through RK9. And it's all pretty intuitive on tracking, which one you registered for and your pairings and all that. But make sure that you are on RK9, because again, very important how everything's tracked. I would register your team on RK9. Again, and not everyone's going to agree with this, but for me, doing it 48 hours before was a huge help. I felt so calm after checking it 3 times when I submitted it, and then checking it a million more times in between and making sure like everything was right. Because I mean, they're on it. I mean, like if your Pokemon says that it has 322 HP stat, it needs to have 322 HP stat. Because if you get checked and that's wrong, you could lose a Pokemon, you could lose a move, you could lose a round. So definitely something to keep track of. Again, I used Extreme Speed, which I kind of talked about earlier, which kind of filters it in. You can select, an entire Pokepaste and then copy and paste it into there, and then it compiles all the data. When you do that, you want to make sure that it copies correctly, because it doesn't always. So you want to make sure that it's actually copying you correctly, and that, there's nothing missing and doesn't accidentally go, okay, dual wing beat, that's Brave Bird. And then you want to make sure your name at the top is correct. You want to make sure the nicknames are on there. Just, be thorough. Make sure your team sheet's correct. Again, check that. Again, I would suggest doing it not 3 hours before you have to start your round one, even though you can. I would do it well before, so you can feel comfortable, feel checked, feel good. You need to have a competitor band. I have mine somewhere, but not on me, which was a mistake in recording. But you need to make sure that you have your competitor band. You can get it the day before. And if you're like, well, how will I know what hours they're open doing that? Follow RK9 Labs on Twitter, because that's how I did it. They tweeted it out and said, hey, on Friday, we're going to be open till 7. And I drove there as fast as I could. And I went up the stairs like 6:54, and then they belted it off behind me. And I was able to get my band before the day before the event started, which was, in my opinion, super helpful, because you can go there the morning of, but who knows how long you'll be in line, and the stress and anxiety. I'm an anxious person. I don't want any extra anxiety or stress on my day. I want to get it the day before. I want to come in ready and relaxed, listen to some jazz the morning of, but like, you get in the right mindset. I don't want to be stressing about, am I getting this band or not in time? And am I going to be cutting it close to my round one? We're not doing that. So I would suggest getting it the day before, or if you're getting it the morning of, go early. Be prepared to go there early. You probably need to get there like 7:30, 7:45 to do that. So make sure you have your band, you're registered. They're going to want to see your actual ID, like in my case, my driver's license, and you need to have your player ID number that you get from the Play Pokemon website. So make sure that you have that ready. You're going to say that several times during the weekend. So make sure you have that, have your ID, always keep those on you. If you're like me, you might be like, where do I get my team sheet? I physically asked people. So, Nezzy and Zach Minnick, I was like, hey, where do I get this team sheet at? And they're like, it's just on they bring it to you. It's on your table during round one, but it is on your table during round one. You do not get a new one every round. Carry that team sheet with you, put it in your bag and carry it around. Don't lose it, or you're going to look like the dude that I had at round 7 that was like frantically going around my space and was like, have you seen my team sheet? I was sitting here last time. So keep it on you. Make sure you got that. It's an important thing to have. They're also going to set match slips in front of you, usually during your game or right before the game. And you need to check mark who won what game, initial on your side, and then the winner needs to be circled. If the winner's not circled, they're not going to count it. So where you take that slip after you win, near the front entrance or near the, like where all their setup is, there is usually a pretty clear place where everyone's flooding to after their games to turn in match slips. So you can just follow them, but you need to turn it in or they can't track it, because how would they know who won if you don't give them the slip? So you do get a new slip every round, because they get turned in every round. So make sure that you are keeping track of that. Don't forget it. Don't walk away if you are the winner, because someone could just circle it and say it was them and then you lose. So make sure you're keeping track of that. Things that I think you absolutely need to bring in from my experience this weekend, you need to bring a bag. I brought one that was kind of small and I regret that. So like can fit at least like this bad boy in it. So I would say like, a backpack or a little smaller, maybe. It can't be bigger than something. Their rule is like, if you can carry it onto a plane, you're good. If you can't, it's too big. So bring a backpack. In that bag, I would have snacks, because again, you're not always guaranteed to have a lunch break. We were not at Louisville guaranteed a lunch break. They had concessions there, like pizza and like a pulled pork mac or something like that. I don't know. But they had those options there. They were pricey, and you have to find time in between your matches. And if the line's long and you're late for your match, guess who loses? You. So, you know, if you bring like a Nutri-Grain bar or like peanut butter crackers or granola bar or something like that, that'd be great to have in there. I would say to bring a notebook, so that way you can keep track, because you'll notice the person you're playing against is taking notes, and 90% of the people there are taking notes. So I had a little notebook with me, and I was writing down, you know, they led these Pokemon, the backups were these Pokemon, they terra'd this Pokemon, this felt weird. Like if a Pokemon that should be really fast was slower than one of my slow Pokemon, that was odd. Or a Pokemon that was really slow was all of a sudden fast, I was like, hey, notate that they're quick, or like they're hitting hard, and I can't tell if it's a choice band or if it's just a really attack invested Pokemon. You need to make sure that you're notating these things. I wouldn't take too many notes, but you know, what you can reasonably jot down comfortably: leads, backups, they terra'd this, even that helped. I was keeping track of who won and lost. And if I wanted to share the team sheet with other people, I was writing down all 6 Pokemon, so I could then go back to my guys and be like, you'll never believe this team that I fought. That was pretty crazy. So, you know, again, notebook, very important. Snacks, very important. In your bag, I would take a wired headset as well. You cannot use any Bluetooth. You're in airplane mode when you connect. When you set down to start a round, you go into airplane mode and you connect to their internet, and you go into the Union Circle and you start a battle in the Union Circle. So I'd be familiar with that. It's before Union Circle, before you go in. But you can't use Bluetooth anything because you're in airplane mode. So Bluetooth headphones, nope. Wireless controller, nope. You need to have a wired controller, wired headphones, and whatever you need to calm down, honestly, because like, again, it is mentally exhausting. If you need something to relax, take that with you, for real. So if you need something that's going to bring you calm and zen you out, take it, you know, whether that be something religiously affiliated or something that, you know, just a toy that brings you comfort or something like that. I would bring it, honestly. For me, I'm going to switch up what I do and bring something, because that round 7 and 8, those were tough. So yeah, bring a bag, bring a notebook, bring a pen, snacks, wired headset, controller, and whatever calms you. Make sure you are listening to the announcements, because they're going to say things like, Pokemon Video Game Competitors Masters Division, your round 9 pairings. Round 9? That's not what they'll say. Let's try again. Video Game Masters, your round 6 pairings are now available. And you need to immediately pull up. You'll see everyone in the Masters Division, which is most of the people there, pulling out their phones, scrolling to RK9, and then refreshing it. Then once they have it, they're gone. They're booking it. They're not going to be late to these matches. So if you are late, you will be punished. So you could lose the first game, or you could lose the entire round. So you need to make sure that when they make those announcements, you're listening. So you'll notice a lot of people like stop talking and listen up. And that's because they want to know that it's time to check their pairings. You'll check, you'll see what table you're at. You can search if you are on an iPhone. I don't know how you do it on Android. But you can search on the webpage and find what table you're at. It'll say, like, for example, me versus Samuel May, table 210. And so I go to table 210 and get set up, because, you know, you can't be late. You need to be there on time. Judges are there standing, walking around, and they will time you out. They'll be like, all right, well, he's 10 minutes late. So you take a loss, which sucks. So again, why you don't want to be in a food line for very long or be in the bathroom for very long. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're getting to the rounds quickly. Make sure that you are friendly to other people, because, you know, everyone's here. Everyone's just competing. They're the same as you. So everyone's trying to have fun here. People are probably pretty stressed out in some cases, because you might be on you might be on 2 losses and get bumped. If you lose 3 matches, you don't go to day 2. And so some people might be a bit stressed about that. So be nice to people, be understanding, be calm. You know, everyone's there doing the same thing, trying to have fun. Don't be stressful, and don't distract the people next to you. When something bad happens, don't yell, don't make a bunch of noise. So, you know, there was a couple distractions in my game that I was like, all right, you get, you know, the other people are trying to play here. So again, that's why wired headphones come in handy, so you can focus up on what's happening on your Switch and not what's around you. But always, you know, good luck, have fun, shake the person's hand, you know, be kind to other people. They're people just like you, and they're doing the same thing you're doing and just trying to have fun. They paid money to be here. They traveled, and no one wants to be treated poorly. So make sure you're friendly. You also, which I didn't notice until like near the end of day 2, you get a welcome kit for going. So I, again, made a mistake, didn't bring it up here. I got a card, a Briar card, and a TCG playmat just for going. So you go to where it says welcome kits, there's a sign, you go there, you say, hey, I'm a competitor, and they hand you free merch for being there, which is awesome. So make sure to go and do that and make friends, you know, talk to the people. There were people that I talked to in round 4 that, you know, I was catching up with at the end of the day, and they're like, what was your record? How'd you do? You know, what are we day 2? And, you know, so it's fun to, like, you know, get to talk to people and kind of see how they performed, how you performed. There's a lot of rambling going on right now. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm covering everything. But overall, again, I was so exhausted, but I had a great time. I made awesome friends. In the video, I kind of talked about Samuel May, who made Oko coasters on the, if you listen to the Oko podcast, he's that guy. If you are on the Oko Discord, you might have saw me and him, but I got myself an Oko merch. I besides Joseph Ugarte, I might've been the first person to get this, because I got it outside the venue day 1 when we walked in together and talked about each other's teams. And then we ended up playing each other round 2, which is crazy. I also want to talk about John Jr., who I played in, I think, the 4th round. He was also super, super cool. He also has a YouTube channel, which will be linked below, because, you know, shout out my guy. He's bigger than I am, but he was super fun to play against. He was probably my favorite match of the day. It went to round 3. It was super good, back and forth. You know, we ended up pulling out the win, but that's not what's important. We had a good set. What a cool guy. And we checked in with each other later in the day. We saw each other 2 or 3 more times. You know, what's your record? Where are you at? Oh, you. And then I had a friend that played him later in the day, so that was super cool. We got to play against Nate Innocenti, who is on Twitter. I will also link his Twitter down below. Super cool guy, down to earth. We took pictures together. He was great. Super excited to play against him again in the future. So those 2 creators are linked below. We got to see Moxie Boosted, which was cool. We got to see Scrawl. We sat 2 tables. We saw Wolf several times, but we also sat 2 tables down from Wolf in round 1, which was super cool. I was too shy to talk to him. That's not important. And then we got to meet Joe Brown, which was like one of my big goals there, was like, if you could meet Joe Brown from the Oko podcast, that'd be cool. So I kind of, you know, made that happen. But, you know, I was super excited to meet Joe, shake his hand. He was a super cool guy. So you get to meet a lot of cool people there. I got to meet Chris, that we already talked about. And I got to meet someone in between round 5 and 6, I think it was, or maybe 6 and 7. He stopped me as I was going to the table. And again, you don't want to be late, so I wasn't able to like sit and talk to the guy. But, you know, it was super cool that he stopped me. I wish I could have talked to him more. If that's you, if you were the guy that stopped me as I was going to one of my matches and was like, hey, do you make YouTube videos? And I was like, yeah, you should also comment down below. And he doesn't have a name, so no one can really pretend to be him. But if that was you, comment. I'd love to say something to you. And just thank you to everyone who helped me. Thank you to my prep group. Thank you to Zach Minnick. Thank you to Nezzy, Neek, Realistic, Tay, Nufo, Bruno, Cruz. You know, there's so many, anyone that's in that group, really, in the prep group, you know, super cool. You helped me a ton by running lines, practicing, telling me what I was doing wrong. You guys, you were there for me the whole day. That was awesome. Thank you to the people that sent me kind messages and like kept up with me during the day. Like Lumios Post and Becca Baddist and Scooteezy. You guys are awesome as well. Super good to have friends like you in the community. And with that being said, I'm going to reiterate the point that I've always reiterated on this channel in pretty much every video. Make friends, join a group, get involved in the community. If someone's like, well, man, I wish I had a prep group like that. I wish I knew people like that. I wish I had people to practice with like that. I wish I had people messaging me like that. You need to get out there. You got to get in the community. You got to be on Twitter. You know, there are people I've never talked to Nate Innocenti before in my life. When that match slip came, or not match slip, when that pairing came up and said Nate Innocenti, first words out of my mouth was, I follow that guy on Twitter and I think he follows me. And we got to talk and, you know, got to and be like, when I sat down, I was like, you're the Twitter guy. And he was like, I am, you know, because I am in the community. So you got to be in the community. That's how you meet these people. I didn't know any of these people prior to VGC, with the exclusion of Lumios Post. But I didn't know any of these people prior. So like the only way that I got to know these people is being active in community on Discords, things like that. You know, you just got to get in there. You got to be involved in the community. You have to get involved in a Discord, get involved in Twitter. That is how you get these groups formed, and that's how you find people to practice, and that's how you make friends that you can go to regionals with. So I highly suggest doing that. Getting involved in the community is huge. Can't recommend it enough. Again, always going to be my suggestion is get into a community. And I loved it. I had a great time. I'm super excited to go to a regional again, possibly looking at San Antonio. So if you plan to go to San Antonio, make sure to let me know, and say something, and we might run into each other there, which would be super, super exciting. So I hopefully, I'm able to go there, and we can see each other there. I'll be much more mentally prepared, much more snack heavy, and just ready to go there and go 4-4 on this one. Thanks, guys. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm hoping to maybe catch some of you at the San Antonio Regional. Hopefully you enjoyed this different style video. The vlog was a little bit weird compared to my usual edited stuff. We'll be back to that here in the next video, but it was super fun, super cool experience. I probably won't vlog the next regional because it's a lot of mental and physical work to do this, but I had a great time. Hoping to see some of you soon, talk to some of you soon. Check out the people I've linked below, and I will be back when the tide rises. Stay blessed.